जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदा माह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सात्वैदं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सगगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुधे देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नाभिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदान हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome to all that Saturday Bhagavatam feast. So first, I just want to thank you all, that Prem Datta Prabhu, Soumya Prabhu, and Aparna Mataji for giving that opportunity. I'll try my best, whatever the Acharya has given, then I'm just trying to give it. If any mistakes, please forgive me. Today, we are just going to look into that. We are now in the fourth canto. In that chapter 23, we are going to look into today. Till last Saturday, we just completed chapter 22. Last week, we discussed about the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And today, we are just continue with that fourth canto, 23rd chapter. So, in this chapter, there are four, we are just divided into four part. One is that Ritu's Vanaprastha life, how he departure from that kingdom and just take that Vanaprastha ashram. And another, Archie performs Pritu's funeral rites and she took that Samagamana. So that is, she entered into the fire. So that another, that demigods' wives are appreciating, praising Archie, Queen Archie, for her uh, sacrifice, austerity. And last, obviously, that Falasruti, which normally every canto end, we are just saying that what is the Phala. So these are I just divided four part. So far, what we have looked into that just a glimpse of that, how we reach in this chapter. So we all know that Vena is a non-pious king. He was a very arrogant king. Is not allowed the people are doing the bhakti practice and all. So then sages thought about to kill him, and after that there is no descendant of Vena. So they churned his thigh and arms. From that, Archie and Prithu Maharaj both came out as Prithu Maharaj came as is a Satyavesha avatar, right, to restore the dharma. So, yada yada hi dharmasya, Bhagavad Gita says, right? Whenever there is a decline of the dharma, he will come. So the same, the situation, he came out as a Prithu Maharaj. And when he came, the kingdom is not in the position. There are a lot of calamities. Mother Earth was not, no one is happy. Mother Earth was not happy. Citizens was in that trouble. So you just try to identify what is the problem. Then Mother Earth is not deliver that what is necessities. So the root cause of that, because Mother Earth's not taken care nicely, uh, that non-devotees are utilizing the resources. Atyahara has happened. So then later, Maharaja Prithu, because of him, Mother Earth started to give that prosperity. And he also helped Mother Earth leveling the earth, and he just created that earth properly. That's why he called Prithvi, Bhumi called the Prithvi also, right? So that was a connection between the uh, Mother Earth is considered as a daughter of Prithu Maharaja as well in one aspects. So that's how he uh, he ruled that kingdom. Then later, uh, he, he ruled the kingdom and fulfilled that citizens' requirement, everything. And after that he just started that Ashwamedha Yajna. Normally that kings are doing at that time. That's a Satyayuga. So under Ashwamedha Yajna, if you have done, then you will get the position of Indra. So that's how after 99th, he just completely, he has just done 99 Ashwamedha Yajna without any issue. That 100th one, Indra has troubled him. He's chased him a couple of times, but often it's happened. He's not allow him to complete the 100th one. So Brahma suggests to him that it's fine, 99th is also is fine. We just left out that. Don't continue. Then Vishnu himself came as Sarina and blessed him along with Indra. So it's a tested that the devotee's patience and all kind of, we can just take it like that. Then once it over, after that, that for tomorrow's visitor, the last session we have seen that one only. So how in that session, see how that Vaishnava is supposed to be treated. That is one of the biggest lesson from that chapter. So because Vaishnavas, we are treated as the Lord himself. They are not feeling like that, but we have treated them like that. So Poor Kumarasan came and he respected, they welcomed and respected. And after that, he instructed that what is the ultimate goal of that life. So that is that each one of us, that what is our ultimate goal? It is a servant, a devotional service to the Supreme Lord. What is our eternal position? We are the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. So we are always keep it in mind. So in that particular chapter, we discuss extensively about the a devotional service, practicing devotional service and association, those things and how important the association, those and all we have seen that last session. So association is very important. Whenever without association, wherever we are associated, we have to get that kind of. So always be in the Sangha, in that Vaishnavas. So that's the reason that temples and all of that. And we just come that this chapter also explain extensively those importance. So these are the things we have come so far. Now, in this particular chapter, what we are going to look into. So this basically it talks about the Maharaj Prithu's goes to the forest. After that, what it is happening. That is on. So first three chapters discuss about that how just renounced everything and just gave it things to his descendant son and just leave the forest along with Archie, Queen Archie. And what are the austerities he's undergone in the forest. And he engaged completely in devotional service. And now this gives up this material body. And he just come out of all the designations. already that when he just gave that position, that time only he just gave out. And apart from that, he just bodily things also he just left out everything. And after that, it's an important bit that how Queen Archie, uh, um, uh, that Queen Archie's part it comes thereafter. And she also follows king to the forest, and he just prepare for fire for her husband, and later she also entered into the fire. And after that, wives of demigods glorify the Queen Archie, and later Queen Archie and Maharaj both just reach that planet where they just weren't supposed to be. Go back to Godhead. Go back. Benefits of hearing the then Saraswati. We are talking about that. What are the benefits when we just hearing and narrating of Prithu Maharaj's story? And the last bit, they're saying that even pure devotee must hear about the Prithu Maharaj. So normally it's not necessary to say that pure devotee. It means obviously he just always connect with the Bhagavatam. So just Bhagavata, they are Bhagavata. Right? These are the things we are going to look into this today's session. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the Prithu Maharaj is the ideal king. So he's a perfect leader in example. He ruled that world as per the Vedic principles and ensured that prosperity and spiritual progress for all the citizens. That is a very important. Prosperity is one of the aspect, and spiritual progress for the citizens is one of the point we have to look into that here. Because even the Prahlad Maharaj ruled his kingdom, right? He's just demons, he's just king of the demons. But how he helped those demons also to spiritually and progress in spiritual. So that's very important. That as a king, that prosperity is not only the material opulent, even the spiritually they have to help uh, the citizens. Like in that Kali Yuga, we can see that constructing temple and progressing, helping that the Brahmanas give their importance to the Brahmanas. That's the way they can do that. So it's very important that spiritual progress for all the citizens in Kali Yuga now, especially in this particular situation. There is a lot of that dharma is not in proper, right? There is decline in the dharma. So because of that, that rulers are not in proper. Rulers not do that duty. They are not do that their due diligence. That's how even that Yata Raja Yatata people like that. That how that king that people also follow like. So that's how that a right ruler is very important. Is Prithu Maharaj is an example of that. And that communism also they talk about the distributed wealth fairly among all living beings. That communism is talked about in that Satyuga as well. Now we are talking, but there is no communism at all. Nowhere is a communism here, right? Communism means it is distributing everything to fair to everybody. Then it's not like that. Some people are so rich become rich get richer and poor become a poor like that. It shouldn't be like that. So, and he established a religious administration and social welfare. That's how he is a ideal king. There, we are just talking about. And yeah, when he just get old, he distributed all the wealth to the everyone, and he installed his sons as a rulers, and peacefully retired from public life. So this kind of situations we can remember that Mahabharata also, that Pandavas so gave the things to the Parikshit Maharaj, and also they are just living these things, right? So that's it's happened. There are a lot of examples in our scriptures. Uh, how we supposed to be in that our old age. Don't be too attached with the family, too attached with the property, wealth. No, it is not supposed to be. We enjoyed everything. Now the time to leave. So before leave this body, mentally we have to prepare for that. What I'm supposed to be to do. That's the reason that ashramas also is come in the picture, right? There is uh, brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa, right? So sannyasa maybe it's not up for everybody, especially in this Kali Yuga. It's not appropriate for us, but at least vanaprastha we could practice. So the true leadership means service, responsibility, and detachment. So generally leadership, what we feel like that, authority. So authority, it's a one aspect is fine, but that authority, it should be with a detachment, not attached like that. Generally what happen if a person is one position, is very attached with that position. So that's how they just show that their power, that authority comes as a power. It's not be supposed to come as a power. That authority comes as a responsibility. So service. So there are a lot of examples in scriptures, but I just took two names of Janak Maharaj and Yudhishthira Maharaj. Janak Maharaj is a Raja Rishi. We know, right? Sita Mai's father. We have all the excuse me. He's all the opulence. He was a king, but still he just unattached, detached with all those opulent bit. So similar, Yudhishthira Maharaj also, he just always follow the dharma, whatever it is in his bit. So these are the quality of the leadership, which Prithu Maharaj very much intact with that. So now that they're talking about the renunciation, ideal renunciation, that as I mentioned, when he's become old, there's a time for leaving the material things at least. We can practice that our Krishna consciousness, it helps during our during the lifetime itself. It's help us to practice in certain extent. But yeah, ideally that when you are becoming old, you have to be prepared for that, uh, leaving all those material objects. Prithu Maharaj left the kingdom for the forest with his wife Archimata, Queen Archie. Obviously, that when that ideal king is leaving that kingdom, the citizens are not happy. They have just a deep affection for him and cried. Similar to Rama is left Ayodhya, that how that citizens are reacted. Similar. And again, this demonstrated in Vedic system, like stages, like as I mentioned, Varnashrama, that are four ashramas, Grahastha, Brahmacharya ashrama, Grahastha ashrama, and Vanaprastha and Sannyasa ashrama. Now we are talking about the Varnashrama ashrama, sorry, uh, Vanaprastha ashrama. So what is the purpose of retirement? Like even the government organization, we have retirement age is right, 58 years or 60 years old, you have to retire from the service, right? So similar, um, even we have to retire at that stage from the material attachment things. So why we have to get retired? We could focus fully on self-realization, and we have to reduce bodily needs and prepare for the spiritual perfection. When we are in that material, if we are not retired, we are not understanding the God consciousness, and because things are a lot of demands, always it's there. So generally, if somebody is not married, that elderly people will ask when you get married. After marry, when you get a child. After child, how they are growing, what you are doing, like that. So that every time that needs is keep changing. All the times the needs always be there. If you are just in that material world. So to reduce that, you have to get retired from the material things and all. Material success is temporary. Life must ultimately move toward spiritual realization. That's we have to keep it in mind. Okay. And then Prithvi Maharaj, once he left the kingdom and just entered the forest, his intense austerities. He did that, he practiced intense austerities. So he ate roots. Generally, if you go to the jungle, it's not like that you have to pack everything and just go. It's not like that. He was a king, he can do that all, but that purpose is not that. So whatever it's available, that only they will eat in the forest. Sri Ramachandra Murthy was 14 years in the forest. He just ate like that only. He ate roots, tree trunks, fruits. Sometimes it's dried leaves. That fruits are not available. That sometime, right? That spring season or some other season, autumn season and all, we may not get that things, fruits and all. So that time, just whatever the dried leaves that only eat. Sometimes you drink only water. Even that it is not. Sometimes only with air was sustained. I think. Can you remember that one personality here that due to this austerity, one personality went to forest at younger age? Anyone can remember the similar situation? So Dhruv Maharaj, he just went and a similar austerity he has done. So also practice the seasonal austerities. That is a one austerity, that is a how he maintain his body. Another one, how he just make it suffer himself, like that 5 fires in summer, Panchatapa they says. What it is that he sit in that surrounded by fire. All the four sides, the blazing fires it's come, and in top that is a scorching sun. So that's a Panchatapa. That even I remember that some of devotees, we traveled in South India, especially Chennai or some other part of the Tamil Nadu. So they are not able to tolerate the sun because of the sweating, weight and all. We are not comfortable, right? But the tapasya, that austerity is like that all the sides you are just heating, scorching heat. But he was in that situation. And when it rains, he's just standing in the rain and in the cold water. The winter time, he just go to the pond or river, and still that neck, he just stand in that water, and he slept in that background. So see, why all this all are doing? That is a question. Why ourselves just make that difficulties, even though I have all facilities, but why I'm just choosing this, right? That Dutta Maharaj is choose this thing. It's not like that it's forcefully get. There is a difference in the fasting and starving, correct? There are two different things. Fasting, both of them not eating, but starving, it's a forceful. It is not. It's not. We are not chosen because I didn't get anything. So I'm starving. But fasting, everything is available, but still I'm just not choosing it. I'm not eating. That's how here also it's kind of fasting. That austerity is called as like a fasting. What I've just given an example. So that all these austerities were performed only to please Krishna. So not for any, like somebody just praising, oh, that Prithu Maharaj did that austerity. He just so much of tapasya is doing. There's nothing, because he is away from all those things. He just got all that prestige things and all when he was to rule the kingdom itself. It's all he has already saw. So it's not necessary for him. Here he is doing this austerities because only to please Krishna. So and again, that's the renunciation is not avoiding the duty. Mostly that even that Bhagavad Gita, many places it says, right? Lord Krishna says that. So you are not supposed to leave your duty, do your duty. That's a do it. That is a famous Nike proverb also. Nike slogan, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna is don't want to fight. That time he says that you just, as Arjuna explained, real renunciation means you have to perform your duty for the Lord's pleasure. So here, Prithu Maharaj have done all those things. Now he just doing this austerity to get more realized and more attached with the Lord. You have to develop that God consciousness for that purpose. Okay. Why renunciants traditionally lived in forest? Why they chosen forest? Basically, there's giving the Vedic culture what they say is forest is a mode of goodness and city is a mode of passion and that drinking places, brothel houses are mode of ignorance. We know that, right? Three things, sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. So these are the forest is comes in the sattvic nature. So that helps to reduce in distractions when you just forest because there is a lesser distraction. There is a no internet connection, no movie hall, no malls, nothing is there, right? So the distractions will comparatively, it's a very, it's almost nil. And we could live our simplify our life. It's not the fancy dress is not required, and it's a palatable food dishes is not necessary. So that make that our life is very simple and minimizing our bodily demands. We may not, as I mentioned, we not require that opulent things and all, not required. And we can focus what it is required, like spiritual focus. We can, in spiritual focus get increased. So even that six Goswamis in Vrindavana lived in the same manner. But Srila Prabhupada wants, he knows that how that Kali Yuga it is, right? We're not supposed to be imitate renunciation externally. Ideally, we are not. There are two type of renunciation. Like one is the external, one is internal. Externally, maybe we are just putting kurta, Vaishnava dress, tilak, everything, kattimala, everything is fine. But internally, who I am, I only know. So we have to develop internally, not externally. Externally is important. Yes, we have to be well good. There's no doubt about that. But that is only is not enough. That is not only thing we have to focus. We are focused more on that internal bit, how to develop my consciousness by being associated with that Bhagavatam, and um, regular sadhana, developing God conscious, all these situations, right? That's how that Srila Prabhupada says, generally it is a immediate renunciation externally, but internally they remain materially attached. Even in Vrindavana, some fall into illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. That Vrindavana is one of the forest, right? In that time, like since Goswamis were there, only they practice that this thing. So, but now we can't imitate that they have done. We are also going bad because our internally our conscious is not developed. Still, we are materially attached. So we will just go and do the same practice what we are doing here. That will not advisable. So, so that's how that next slide it comes, how to practice that our people like that in Kali Yuga, how they have to do. So we'll go to the next slide. Prepare to leave the body peacefully. That is how that goal of Prithu Maharaj is. Prepare to leave the body peacefully and attain higher destination. Okay, that Prabhupada says we are not supposed to do that. How that six Goswami is that we are not supposed to choose in the forest. Then what we have to do? He's just giving an example of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's guru. So what he recommended, live in a temple environment and practice. So the temple environment, how it helps. You can chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna daily, follow 4 regulative principles, accept Krishna Prasada, and engage in devotional service. So devotion, generally they say, but in Srila Prabhupada, many places he say that devotional service. It's a devotion, it's not only you have to do our own, but you have to do as a service as well. That's how we get that our consciousness will improve. So these are all how it's happened, when it will happen, when we have to get that similar kind of environment. That in this Kali Yuga, forest is not possible. Everybody is now, all the places are concrete jungle. There is no more jungle, right? Jungle is very, very lesser places are there. Like you have to go to Himalaya and all, which is not possible for us. So that's the reason Srila Prabhupada very gracefully he just constructed many temples. Our temples is basically is a Vedic. We can study in the Vedic literatures. Basically, that's how we can practice bhakti nicely by doing seva to the deities and associate with that other like-minded people. So it's help us. See, other side, the last slide I mentioned that reducing distraction and simplifying life and increasing spiritual focus. This all applicable in temple environment as well. Because when we are just in the temple, I don't think so. We are discussing some gossip or some material uh, conversation. Maybe, but it not that extent. That's how our distraction is very less. We are just direct our time. Like for example, morning 8 o'clock we are going to the temple and Sunday program, especially I'm talking. 8 o'clock and 1 o'clock we will be there in temple. It means those times we may not think about that external bit. We may not thought about that. If I'm not coming to the temple, that time I may go to that some malls or cinema hall or some other materially and just engage myself, right? So this temple is helped me to at least that 4 5 hours to practice uh, bhakti in that particular that environment is helped me to do that. I'm energized myself that entire week. Maybe I'm just not remember Lord. Maybe I'm just little material, little monotonous. When I just went to the temple, I'm seeing that other devotees. I'm getting cherished. I'm just talking about how that last week went, what and all we have done, and what program is going to do, what kind of savers is available for us. Those kind of discussions will come, and normally that it's all the discussions around on that. So that's how that Srila Prabhupada give that opportunity for us. This conditioned soul, fallen souls, he gave that opportunity by constructing these temples. So temple life is compared to Vaikunta. So we never realized that Vaikunta bit, but here he is comparing that the temple life is compared to Vaikunta. It's an embassy of the spiritual world. That's how we know that, right? And Prithu Maharaj austerities had one goal, which is praise to Krishna. We have seen that. Not for the fame or mystic powers or liberation, like how that yogis have done doing the things and all, right? For devotion, so purely for devotional service. By strict devotional service, he achieved what and all he achieved. It's just constant remembrance of the Lord, freedom from false ego ahankara, complete detachment from material life, and firm love for Krishna. He became situated in the Suddha Sattva, pure goodness, beyond the three transcendental mode we heard, right? That one. So, yeah, these are the benefit he is getting because of doing by performing that so devotional service, that austerity. Okay. How devotion automatically brings detachment? Generally, we all are just get attached to so many things. So we are feeling like that once I'm just get attached, I will just do that bhakti. Just normally we are hearing, right? That generally when we are going for the preaching, people told it's very too early for me. Let me to get old, I'll do that practice. I will start to read Bhagavad Gita. I'll start to come to the classes and all they says that. So, but we don't know that they don't know, they are not aware about that how long we will be in this material world. Say, if somebody come and ask me that you start to do bhakti, you start to read Bhagavad Gita, started to come to my class and all. If I say that, let me get old, but is there any guarantee I'll be there till I'm getting old? That is the biggest things people are not understanding. So here Prabhupada is giving a simple analogy how that airplane takes off. It automatically leave the ground, right? When that taking off, after that it's automatically leave the ground. Similar, when we uh, when our devotional service begins, material attachments automatically fall away. So how progressing in this devotional service, that degree or we are just away from the material attachments, that we are giving the more importance on that. That's the only things we have to focus. Please don't worry about that quality of that service, quality of the things and all. Over the time it get corrected automatically. Even if you just join in any corporate, initially we may not be aware that how that corporate works, how the process it works. By doing things, by doing mistakes, we learn and we corrected ourselves and progress further, right? And after some years, we have been at some level of we got some position as well. But initially, if you see that, just think about the 10, 15 years back when you started your career of that corporate, we may struggled a lot. But now we are in a really good position. Similar in devotional practice also, we may fall, we may not perfect, but still that one thing we are supposed to in our mind, we are not supposed to leave that because of we are getting bored and not getting any output, not outcome, anything is comes. I'm doing this, I'm not getting any benefit. So don't do that. We have to do that continuously. We have to have that firm faith, and we have to hold up we have to just not leave the association of that sangha. That's very important, because whenever we get demotivated, whenever we get dry things and all, it comes, we have to talk to our senior, we have to talk to other Vaishnavas and get motivated ourselves. We are not supposed to be demotivated or while doing that devotional practice. There are a lot of things that comes in between. The family things will go little worse, or our personal things will not go in the way it's supposed to be. We may struggle a lot, but still that consistent practice of bhakti is very, very important. Uh, that is the only way. Maybe these are the things all are temporary. We're discussing many times, right? This material things, whatever it is, whether it's opulent, whether it's a struggle, whether it's a problems, all are a temporary only. That's we are always keep it in the mind. If it is that in mind, even I'm just getting very, very get exalted position or exalted situation, still I have to remember that this is a temporary. When I'm in the deep trouble, some issues are there, but still I have to the same thing I have to keep it in mind. This is temporary. So that itself is get motivated us. That itself is giving that opportunity to continue our service in devotion service. So that is the keep it in mind. So that's how that automatically bring detachment. When we are doing consistent bhakti seva, devotional service consistently, that will help to detach from the material things. So that is a Prabhupada is explained on that. And also that mukti, liberation is not the final goal. Even liberated soul aspire for devotional service. Yeah. See, even the Prithu Maharaj is a Satyabhisha avatar, right? Why he is supposed to do all this seva? He came down directly from the Vaikunta. So he can automatically can go back. Then why is doing that service? Generally, Lord's always being an example. Even if you see that uh, Krishna's pastimes, he just chosen that Sandipani as a guru. Why? He is a supreme Lord. Nobody is superior than him. Then why he choose a guru? Because he just given an example. He want to be an example for the general audience, general people. So we have to understand that why that guru is important. Similar, he just doing that Sandhya Vandana while just return back for Uddhava, along with Uddhava to meet Kamsa. They just stop the chariot and do that Sandhya Vandana. But who is doing that? Why we are doing the Sandhya Vandana? Remember the Lord, we are just that austerity we are doing, right? The Lord is not required to do all those things, but still he is doing. Why? Because he wants to give the example, being an example. So that is how, that's the reason even that as Prithu Maharaj is doing this particular practice. And also the liberation is not the final goal. Ideally, that if you ask the devotees, pure devotees, so do you want to get liberate? They say no. I want to where that Lord is there. I want to do the service. That is the ulterior motivate of the pure devotee. It is not the liberator. Mukti. Mukti is not a final destination of the pure devotee. Even Srimad Bhagavatam says that Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgandha Urprame Kurvanti Haitukim Bhaktim Ittam Bhuta Gunoharihi. Even Bhagavad Gita 18.54 they says Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasochati Na Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labate Param. So liberation is only the beginning of pure devotion. It is not the ulterior motivate of that pure devotees. Okay. What there is a says the danger of Brahman realization without bhakti. So we know that, right? 3 degree the Brahman and Paramatma and Bhagavan, the realization. 3 things are there. So one attains an impersonal Brahman realization but not develop the devotion, there is no spiritual engagement. That's how we are not encouraging the Brahma Jyoti concept, correct? So because there is no spiritual engagement, we just merge with the Lord. That's it. We do not get any opportunity to do seva. So eventually the soul falls back to material life. That Brahman concept, we will be fall down. That's the reason that is not, there's a danger. So jnana and yoga are only stairways. Bhakti is the final destination. Like there are the different path of liberation, like karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So all other yogas, we just go to that like through the staircase. I have to step. There is my office on 18th floor. If I'm going 18th floor by steps, is sensible, or am just choosing the lift? Obviously the lift, right? Because that's a easy to attain that. Easy way to attain that my destiny. Similar here, bhakti is the final destination. It's kind of lift elevator. It's not an other yoga system and all. It's kind of stairways. Ultimate every yoga systems is ultimate goal to attain the Supreme Lord. But those are it's very difficult, especially in this Kali Yuga. We know that Vishwamitra Rishi, right? He has done thousands and thousands of years yoga meditating. But again it is fall down, right? One time he just fall down with Menaka, I think Menaka, and other times again just with that guy, one person it comes and asks the Swarga, right? He just created the Trisanga Surga. He just again, that all that yogic practice he just spent on that itself. So again he fall down. Again he started to that. So it's a very, very difficult to do all that. We are not able to. We can't do those kind of practice. What I'm trying to tell. So that's why Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just gave this this path of bhakti in simple way to attain that supreme abode. So we have to follow. Then superiority of the bhakti. Narada Muni, what he explained that bhakti yoga, how it is. It's like a queen. When the queen arrives, when the queen comes, so all maid servants just follows, right? Like that, when we are doing bhakti, the liberation, mystic purse, material opulence, all its followers, but that is not our ultimate primary goal. Pure devotee naturally obtains all results, but does not care for them. These are the secondary things for us. It is not the primary. Our primary things, we have to do that seva to the Supreme Lord. We have to connect with that lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So, final realization of Prithu Maharaj. Eventually, he realized Krishna as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Abandoned separate process of jnana and yoga, focused only on pure devotional service. Because once he realized that Krishna, Bhagavan, he just leave it all jnana and yoga and focused only on pure devotional service. So, his final teaching, what he's saying, without attraction to Krishna Katha, spiritual realization remains incomplete. So, it's a kind of dry philosophy. Without bhakti, if you are doing all the practices, that jnana, yoga, this and all, it will not helpful. You have a lot of knowledge, but you will not share to anybody, or you are not act upon. I'm reading Bhagavad Gita every day. Every day I'm chanting, but I'm not practicing, I'm not applying in my day-to-day life that what and all I'm reading, like I'm getting a knowledge, jnana, but that jnana I'm not put it in the place of that practice, but there is no use. That jnana is basically to understand the Supreme Lord, to connect to the Supreme Lord. If I'm not doing that, I'm just keep accumulating knowledge. I'm sitting that so a lot of classes, Bhagavatam classes, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, I'm giving wonderful class, whatever it is. But if I'm not doing, if I'm not realizing that connection with the Lord, if I'm not connected with the Supreme Lord, it is not at all use of that. It's a dry philosophy. So similar, I'm doing a lot of practices, yogic practices. That is for the mystic world. Generally, the yogics of doing that. But that is not, if I'm not connecting with that Supreme Lord, that purpose, then there is no use of that. Because all these are the temporary things on. So if that things and all, I'm not getting any taste to hear that Krishna Katha, is all practices are vain. There is no use of them. My spiritual realization remains incomplete. Stotavya kirtavyascha smradhavyascha chetatap bhayam. That is a Bhagavatam says. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam is the three primary things we are supposed to be adopt and we have to follow. So, what are the takeaways from this, Maharaj, so far? Is perform your duties responsibly and renounce material at the right time, that Vanaprastha bit. Avoid artificial renunciation. Definitely, we are not supposed to do. Follow practical bhakti for this age. And ultimate goal is a pure devotion to Krishna. These are the takeaway from this so far. Okay. So, what is the final lesson from the spiritual leader as a spiritual leader? Death is the ultimate examination. So, the last teaching of a great devotee is how to leave the body in Krishna consciousness. And spiritual life prepares us for the final example. See, this is the first canto, the last sloka. Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami how to live this life, how to live and lead this life, and how to live that, what to do in this life, and how to leave that my body, the time of the death. What I'm supposed to do at the time of the death. These two important questions he's asking. So both the things, the answer is the same. We have to practice Krishna Bhakti. The time of the death, we have to be remember the Supreme Lord. That's very important. So we are saying, right? Anda kalecha mam yeva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshayaha. Whoever remembers me at the time of death attains my nature. That's what Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita. So, same. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers of death, that state he attains. That clearly you say that what we are supposed to do practice the time of the death. Okay, we just say that, but how we just bring it that's important, right? So for that only our Acharya has given this particular uh, concept, doing that bhakti seva, uh, doing that 16 rounds of chanting, hearing Krishna Katha every day, Bhagavatam, and the four regulative principles also is meant for that. Okay, so reading and hearing and all. So while doing this on daily basis, how to live this life, I am practicing this on daily basis. It has helped me on the time of the death. So by the time as I mentioned earlier, the people are saying when I'm getting old, I'll come to do this all practice things and all. I'll do japa and all. This is very too early for me. I'm just in 30s or 40s. Why I'm supposed to do these things and all? There is time to enjoy. That normally the people are just have this concept, right? But the death anytime can come. Even the 30, even the 40 can approach. The death can approach anybody on that. So, and that time, if suddenly I remember the Lord, is it possible? No, definitely not. Till the time that what and all are things, how we lead our life, that only it's come in our mind at the time of the death. So that's the reason we are asking that our acharyas give you that opportunity to practice that bhakti on daily basis, connect with the Lord on daily basis, day-to-day basis, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, visiting the temple, traveling to the Dham, reading the Bhagavatam, hearing the Krishna Katha, these and all. We are just on day to day, we are connected with that. On our just blood, it's come automatically. Like as previous things I mentioned, that realization, sorry, not this one, automatically brings detachment. Our devotion automatically brings detachment. That's how it is come. So in the time of the death also, we can easily remember Supreme Law. That is our purpose. Okay. So daily sadhana prepares for the consciousness for the moment of the death. That was I explained. Yeah. Dutta Maharaj recognized the time of death. So what is the important principle here? Advanced devotees can understand when the departure is near. Prabhupada explains, devotees prepare consciously for death. They become jubilant, not fearful. So death, so material people, it's a fear factor. They are just not acceptable, even though it is evitable. It is when there is a birth, there is a death, definitely, right? But people, materialistic people, they are happily enjoying that moment only. They are not think about the future, that what will happen at the time of the death. They are not. When it comes near to the death, they are just very fearful. But in devotees, they never fear the death. That biggest example, Prahlad Maharaj. They put it on the lot of troubles, right? That Hiranyakashipu put it on that. He never fear about that because he just have that faith. That is a very important. Even devotees get an opportunity that normally material people they think about that the death. They are closer to the death, right? That life end. But when spiritual people, how they just devotees, how they are looking into that, the death is close to the Krishna. Death is closer to Krishna. That's how they are looking into that. That's the reason they do not have any fear. Because they know that they are going back to Godhead only. That my home, I'm just going back to my destination, right? My home only, I'm just going back. Then why I have to fear about that? So that kind of uh, uh, conscious that devotees have. So they do not fear about the death. Even Bhagavad Gita says, Esha Brahmi Sthita Partha Nainam Praptya Vimugati Sthitivasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. being situated in this consciousness, one is not bewildered even at the time of death. That's a devotee's specialization. Here, that Prithu Maharaj is doing that Ashtanga Yoga, basically, how he just left his body. They explained very nicely in that 14th and 15th sloka. Prithu Maharaj used yogic meditation to leave the body. What the process he utilized? Blocking the anus with ankles, raising the life air upward, moving through the chakras. There are 6 chakras, the sub-chakra they say, Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Agnya. Agnya means that it is comes from the skull, get out of that skull. So moving through the chakras, bringing into the Brahmarantra. That's how that life air is go out. That Brahmarantra means that one. So there are Ashtanga Yoga, you heard about that, right? Yama Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, and Dhyana and Samadhi. There are conditions, right? That 4 things like Yama Niyama, Asana. Yama Niyama means do's and don'ts, and Asana, 170. So asana is a sitting posture, pranayama, that we have to meditate on that, meditate on the feature, objects, and pratyahara, it's a deep meditation, and dhyana, then we are focusing on that bhakti practice, and dhyana and samadhi. That's how that Ashtanga Yoga, it is work, right? So, Prithu Maharaj, why they took that Ashtanga Yoga? That is, we can do the devotional. Bhakti Yoga is the easiest way to time, but why is doing that? Again, it is that time that this and all, it is not the right. Now we are getting opportunity that the Lord says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and Krishna came 5,000 years old and just explained that how we are just practice bhakti and just get elevated. But that time it is not that. But even though is a devotee, is a avatar, Satyavasha avatar, but still he just practice that to attain that supreme. See, the top of the skill, there are some yogis also I have seen. They, if it is not go automatically, they asked their disciples to. In South India, I have seen they just put the coconut in their head. They break the coconut in their head. By that they try to open that skull actually. But it's artificial. I'm not sure that how it is, but actually that some of the sannyasis have done these things and all. But actually we have to by nature like that this chakra progression. They have to open the skull and through that they leave that life air. Okay, I'm just a little fast time because I think already it's 7:50. Brahma Bhuta stage, again, uh, uh, symptoms, there are no lamentation. Before entering the spiritual sky, one must reach Brahma Bhuta consciousness. And what are the symptoms? There is no lamentation, no material desire, equal vision, and pure devotional begins. So soul leaves according to karma. That's normal death. It's an advanced yogi. They control the prana and they want to open through the Brahmarandra. Then wherever they want to go, either higher planets, Vaikunda or Krishna Loka, whatever it is. So, and Prithu Maharaj is to dissolve this material body like that. His body just give it to the earth. What are the liquids in his body? It goes aligned with the water, and the fire in that is whatever the heat in this body, it go and merge with the fire, and his breath is just merged with the air and senses with ether. Similar, mind aligned with that senses and senses to sense objects, and ego merged with the Mahat Tattva. That's how he just left his body in this material world. Okay. Difference between the impersonalist and devotee. So after liberation, 2 possibilities exist. One is Brahma Jyoti and Vaikunda. Prabhupada states 99.9% of impersonalists fall again into material life. That's obvious. We are aware about that. There is no spiritual engagement when that for the the impersonalist, what I'm talking. So then devotee's experience beyond Brahman. A devotee does not become unconscious. Spiritual senses are awakened, and the devotee perceives the personal form of the law. So these are the experience beyond the Brahman. Awakening spiritual consciousness, material consciousness must be cleansed. That is a Cheto Tarpana Marjanam. We know every day we are just singing. That is a process recommended in Kali Yuga, chanting the holy name. By chanting the holy name, our hearts just get cleansed, our consciousness will get imposed. So, what is the power of the holy name? We all know. Chanting destroy the material desire, karmic reactions, and ignorance. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita also they said, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalau nasti eva, nasti eva, nasti eva gatiranyata. In Kali Yuga, the only way is chanting the holy name. So then again, there is a explanation of the Prabhu and all. I'm just leaving that, shelter of Acharya. The real identity of the soul is a Sarupo Palabdhi. The real identity of the individual soul lies is understanding or attaining the knowledge that is eternally, so we are eternally servant of Krishna. That knowledge is a Sarupo Palabdhi. Prithamaraj achieved liberation, pure devotion, and returned to Vaikunta. See, he left the spiritual airplane from Vaikunta. Okay, that is how Prithamaraj left this body. And quickly, I'm just covered another that Queen Archie, and that's a Palasuti. So Queen Archie appeared from the body, the same body of King Vena. That there's a hand on one side that Prithamaraj comes, other side that Queen Archie comes. It's a eternal concept of Supreme Lord, right? So she is a Lakshmi Devi, none other than Lakshmi Devi only. So Archie represented ideal feminine devotion. Yeah. Example she demonstrated is a perfect chastity, dedication to husband, supporting spiritual life. Spiritual couples help each other progress toward liberation. That is the biggest example, Jayadeva and Padmavati. We have just listened that story, how that ideal couple to practice the bhakti. So Archie's life of austerity, that's a very important one. We have to look into that. I think this entire chapter, there is no glorification of that Archie Mata. Here they are talking about Pritha Maharaj retired and went to the forest, but Archie also went along with the forest. How Sita Devi went, how Gandhari just went along with that Dhritarashtra. They all just followed their husband, what they're doing. They're faithfully. And Urmila, I'm just mentioning here Urmila's name. She's a wife of Lakshmana, but she's not went with Lakshmana. Then why I just mentioned here, because the austerity what she followed, that 14 years that Lakshmana is not slept at all to protect Rama, to safeguard Rama. He's just being as a gatekeeper, right? So he just asked Nidra Devi, I don't want to, just please don't disturb me. I just don't want to sleep. I want to protect my brother. So then Nidra Devi said, I can't go against the law of nature. So I have to, at least you have to just nominate someone else who is taking care of that that quota. So then Urmila Devi is taken that actually. That whatever that he is not slept, those things is Urmila is have done these things. Even though she was in the kingdom, but always she is a member of the Lakshmana, and she took that particular thing that she just slept most of the times like that. That is austerity. So and austerity is included. That Archie's austerity is included sleeping on the ground, similar how that Prithu Maharaj have done. Eating fruits was the same, living a simple forest life, serving her husband constantly. Even though her body is very thin and weak, but normally woman is not so powerful, so strong like the men, right? But still she followed. That is the biggest austerity. I am doing that above my limitation. That's austerity. And generally we are talking about what is austerity. If everything is comfortable with me, then I am doing, that is not called austerity. That austerity, it means I'm doing above beyond my limitation. I'm just giving my comfort things and all. I'm just acting certain things and all. That earlier I mentioned fasting and starving, similar one. But she's felt a spiritual happiness because she's getting happiness on that. She get that pleasure on that. Service done with love, go beyond the physical hardship. That's all. So, Vedic roles in spiritual life. So, Srila Prabhupada explained complementary roles of men and women. These just designated men and women, the roles on the spiritual life. the practice austerity, men's role, control the senses, and lead family towards spiritual life. That is the men's role. That women, what they are support the spiritual life, serve husband with the devotion, raise children in spiritual culture. So the primary duty of the woman, that major role it's doing by the men, but the primary duty of the woman, they have to follow that is her husband. That is our scripture says. Mother Vishnu Priya, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's wife, when the Mahaprabhu left sannyasa, she also practiced the austerity. What she did is she doing that chanting. After completing one round, she take one grain. Similar, how many rounds she is doing, that much grain is take. That only she cooked and eat. That's the austerity she just followed. Vishnupriya, Mother Vishnupriya. Yadyat acharti sreshtas tat tat evataro jana sayat paramanam kurte lokastat anuvartate. Whatever great persons do, common people follow. We are that no ideally that is the scripture says that women always follow their husband, that good way. That when we are doing that good practices, not a Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, I'm not talking about when Rama, like some other like Prithmaraj, like that. Both roles cooperate and both the roles are cooperate each other and spiritual advancement for the spiritual advancement. Okay, the final sacrifice. When Prithmaraj left his body, Queen Archie, a little bit of lamented, it was that it's a natural, and built the funeral fire, that she just put it on fire, and performed the rituals, and offered water oblations, and circumvented the fire, then meditating her husbands on lotus feet. Then she entered the funeral fire. That is a Sagagamana, they say. In that recent world, we heard about the Sati. Sati was banned in the time of Raja Ram Mohan Rai, is the English period, the British period. He just abandoned that practice because they are misused. They are misunderstanding the spiritual things and all. See, ideally, entered that fire after that husband dead, that same fire that normally that woman also is entered, in that earlier it was there. That is actually without any social pressure. They themselves, they want to enter because they don't want to, they are just too attached with the husband, and they don't have anything else to lead in this material world, unless they have any kids and all. Like Kunti Maharani have a kids, but that's the reason she not done that. Similar, they have any response unless there is a responsibility. Unless there is a responsibility, they are also just go along with that. They opted that Sagagamana. So then later it was the social pressure. The people just put themselves, put it in the fire, the women, ladies, women and all. So that's how the Raja Ram Mohan Rai, he was person just lead that protest, and just they banned that particular thing. Okay, if that somebody is not understanding, a person who wastes the rare opportunity of human life, which is meant for liberation, by struggling for material enjoyment, is considered cheated the self and self-envious, like killer of self. If we are not understanding that our eternal bit, then we are killing our Atma itself. Okay, so return to Vaikunta. The wives of the demigods glorified Archi. She served her husband just as Lakshmi serves Lord Vishnu in that Vaikunta. And similar in Dwaraka, how Rukmini Devi served Lord Krishna. So similar way, Archi just performed their activity with the Prith Maharaj. They observed that, the demigods' wives observed Prithu and Archi rising to the spiritual world, traveling on spiritual airplanes, Vaikunta airplanes. After attaining me, that Krishna says in 8.15, after attaining me, great souls never return to this temporary world. And one more thing, what it is here, yeah, husband and wife. So here I want to say one thing, that both of them get the two different airplanes. It's not the one airplane. But Prith Maharaj one airplane got, and Ruchimata, Queen Archie is getting the another airplane. Like both of them, two individual souls. That's what they practiced, and they just left. And yeah, husband and wife can create Vaikunta at home, here itself. How? The Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, install deities in the house, chant the holy name, and serve Krishna together, raise children in devotion. That's how we can make it as a Vaikunta. Our home itself as a Vaikunta. So, what is that? Practical takeaway from Marchi and Prathu, we learn marriage should support spiritual life. There is a no divorce in that. In the scriptures, there is a no name called divorce. Husband and a wife should cooperate in devotion. Service attitude is the foundation of the relationships. So, yeah, that how develop that relationship. That's how we have to do that service thing. Human life is meant for returning back to Godhead. That is a primary understanding of that. We have to understand. Human life is a rare opportunity for liberation. Yes. Don't waste human life in sense gratification. Use it devotional service to Krishna. So blessing of hearing Prithu Maharaj. This is a Palastuti. So there is a two more slides. I just finish it fast. Maitreya Muni explains the glories of hearing about Prithu Maharaj, what and all the benefit the people are getting. So anyone who hears or narrates these pastimes with faith, whether personally studying or teaching others, will attain the same destination as Prithu Maharaj. So return back to Godhead. So these are the benefit what we are getting when we are just reading or hearing with faith of Prithu Maharaj story. So why hearing about a devotee gives liberation? Why? So Prabhupada explained, pure Vaishnava is a dear as the Lord himself. So glorifying a devotee is non-different from glorifying the Lord. Ambarish Maharaj story, we can remember that. The Lord becomes pleased when his devotees are glorified. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu often is glorifying the gopis seems. But the other concept people and all they say things, no, you have to glorify the Lord. Why you are just glorifying gopi? But Mahaprabhu is not seeing the difference between the Lord and that Lord servant, because Vaishnavas and the Lord himself is very happy when that servant is getting glorified. So that is a understanding. Um, Hearing about great devotees awakens devotion to Krishna. So, yeah. Maitreya Muni also describes material benefits. What are the material benefits? So, generally, we are looking into the material bit only, right? So, sorry. So, one who hears with faith may obtain success in one's occupation. They get the good children, fame and reputation, prosperity, opulence, peaceful life. These are the secondary things. These and all we get. These are the material benefits, but not, it's not the primary one. What is our primary goal? Is our devotion to the Lord. So, even pure devotees must hear. This is another, because as starting only I told, it is not required. It's not a disclaimer, but it's not necessary. I have to just put in that pure devotee means they are always in the attached with the Bhagavatam. Either they have to talk Bhagavatam or read Bhagavatam. They live as a Bhagavatam, right? So even advanced devotees should continue hearing. Hearing and chanting strengthen devotion life. Yes, agree. 9 process of bhakti begin with a Shravanam Kirtanam. Shravanam is very important, and Kirtanam, there are 9 devotional stages, all knows that. Thus, hearing about great devotees nourishes bhakti. Here, why we are talking about all this hearing, keep on that Prithu Maharaj's story we are hearing, what and all benefits we are getting. Palashruti is right. Yeah, that last slide, Maitreya conclude the narration. Result of regularly hearing, what will happen? Increase faith in the Lord, develop attraction to his lotus feet, remove material contamination. The Lord's lotus feet are compared to boat crossing the ocean essence. That Sagara Samsara, it's too big, right? But when we are just lotus feet of the Lord, that it comes the proof of that footprint of the calves, right? Like that. So we can easily cross that ocean. So devotional hearing liberates the soul from material existence. Hare Krishna, power of hearing and chanting. What Prabhupada says, Shravanam and Kirtanam, one becomes Nimitta Sangha, free from material association. The influence of the 3 modes of nature disappears. They go to the transcendental bit, and the heart becomes fixed in devotional service. One who engages in devotional service transcends the modes of nature. A regular hearing of Bhagavatam leads to liberation. Hare Krishna. I am stopping here. Sorry, Prabhu, I am taking a little longer time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for the wonderful session. You have practically in detail discussed every part of this chapter, from practices of Ritu Maharaj to austerities of Archi Mata, and the Falashruti, like what one can get hearing or following in the footsteps of Ritu Maharaj. Thank you very much. Elaborately, you have put PPT also. Almost every shloka you have covered, along with Prabhupada's, I think, purport, points from Prabhupada's purport. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Wonderful session. Anybody's having any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Wonderful session, Prabhu. I a bit late join actually, but whatever I get, nectarian last, whatever essence you have given is very wonderful and very simply way you convince and focusing on the chanting and there is a no other way. If you're not connected with Lord, that is the main essence. Whatever our Shravanam, Kirtanam, whatever chanting, if you're not connected with Lord, that reciprocation, then there is a no point. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Wonderful session. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Manibhushan Prabhu. Wonderful session. I think you covered the whole aspect of Krishna oneness, not just this chapter. Prabhupada purports are so wonderful that, even if it's something like, sugar cane, you take from the top or bottom, the juice only comes. So I think that's what you have wonderfully, I think, covered everything of, what is Krishna oneness through Prabhupada purports and, you know, so I think that really inspiring lesson that, if we read Prabhupada purports, we can remain steady in Krishna consciousness, because Prabhupada purports, from top to bottom, it covers the whole aspect of Krishna oneness everywhere, actually. And as you rightly said, that's why it is required that every day we should read Srimad Bhagavatam, every day we should chant, every day we should perform our devotional services. Then only it is possible for us to remain very stable in Krishna consciousness. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for all your wonderful endeavor, hard work you have put in taking out the essence of each and every purport of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
If there is no other comment or question, I just have one point to say that tomorrow we have kitchen cleaning